Our stories are not real and made for entertainment purpose only. Subscribe to my channel for more stories. Now let's begin this one. My uncle took my vineyard at the wine tasting, then I showed a deed that ruined him. The Willow Creek wine tasting transformed the town square into a festival of flavor, its white tents gleaming under oak trees, vintners pouring ruby reds and crisp whites for crowds of tasters. My booth was ready, its oak barrels draped with fairy lights, Mia's painted sign, Sullivan's vines, swaying in the breeze. Leo served his fig and goat cheese crostini, pairing it with my Cabernet, while Mia handed out tasting cards, her pigtails bouncing. I wore my favorite burgundy dress, my portfolio of vineyard photos open, ready to pitch to Ms. Laura Bennett, a wine critic whose prize could change our lives. Opening day was vibrant, crowds swirled, my Cabernet earning gasps, locals like Mrs. Alan Carter praising its blackberry soul. Then I noticed a stir at the central pavilion, a prime spot I'd expected for my display. It wasn't mine. Frank stood there, his booth a mirror of my winer and my Cabernet bottles, my barrel decor, even Mia's sign design, all under a banner reading Frank Sullivan's Vineyard. He waved a document, claiming he owned Sullivan's vines. "This is my legacy," he told the crowd, his voice bold. "Emma's just my assistant." My heart stopped, the crowd's applause a gut punch. My vineyard. I'd planted every vine, pruned every row, spent nights perfecting my blend. I pushed through the tasters, Leo and Mia trailing, my voice trembling. "That's my winery, Frank," I shouted, pointing to his booth. He turned, his smile smug. "Emma's confused," he said, chuckling. "She helped with bottling, but I'm the owner." The crowd murmured, some nodding, others eyeing me with pity. Miss Bennett, notebook in hand, raised an eyebrow, her pen still. Leo gripped my hand, his jaw tight, while Mia tugged my dress, her voice small. "Why's he got our grapes, Mommy?" I knelt, hugging her, but rage burned inside. Frank had stolen my vineyard, my booth, my dream, in the heart of Willow Creek's biggest event. I had no proof on hand, my deed at home, my trust in family shattered. We retreated to our booth, its corner now a shadow of Frank's pavilion, sales flat as tasters flocked to his vineyard. Leo was furious, his chef's calm replaced by resolve. "He doesn't take your vines, Emma," he said, stacking unsold bottles. Mia, teary, drew a grapevine on a napkin, saying, "For our winery." I hugged her, promising, "We'll fix this, but fear not at me." That night, in our farmhouse where Mia's butterfly art lined the walls, I couldn't sleep, Frank's smug smile a taunt. I wasn't a detective, but I'd been meticulous. My vineyard's deed was locked in our safe, a notarized document naming me the sole owner, signed when I bought the land 8 years ago. I found emails with my lawyer, Mr. Alan Pierce, confirming the purchase, dated before Frank's arrival in Willow Creek. Digging deeper, I checked my winery's cloud drive, where Frank had access to my booth plans. A folder labeled FS_projects held a bombshell, an email chain where Frank pitched his vineyard to a distributor, Napa Elite, using my wine specs verbatim. Another message, to a cousin, bragged, "Emma won't know I took her winery till I'm rich." I called Mrs. Ellen Carter, a retired vintner who'd mentored me in Willow Creek's wine club. She'd seen Frank photographing my vines last summer, claiming it was for a listing. Ellen had overheard him at a club meeting, saying he'd take Emma's vineyard to retire in style. Leo recorded her statement, her voice firm. He planned to pass it off as his. I also contacted Mr. Henry Walsh, the local feed store owner who'd supplied my barrels. He'd sold Frank identical ones. His order rushed after seeing mine. I reached out to Mr. Alan Pierce, my lawyer, who'd handled the vineyard sale. Alan reviewed my evidence deed, emails, Ellen's statement, Walsh's receipt, and nodded. "Frank's document is a forgery," he said. "You can sue, but exposing him at the tasting will hit harder. His ego thrives on respect." I agreed. I wanted Frank to face the crowd he'd deceived, the vintners who'd trusted him, the town that loved my wine. Over for days, Leo and I became sleuths, our kitchen a war room of evidence, Mia's bedtime stories swapped for strategy talks. My deed was the cornerstone. Its notarized seal a clear claim to Sullivan's vines, backed by purchase records. I printed Frank's emails, his Napa Elite pitch, and his incriminating texts, all notarized by Alan. Leo contacted the tasting's organizer, Miss Jane Howell, who confirmed my booth registration predated Frank's, his application flagged as duplicate. Jane had overheard Frank pressuring a volunteer, Miss Lily Tran, to overlook my registration, promising her a wine case. Lily, guilt-ridden, agreed to record a statement. Frank said he deserved the vineyard. Ellen's statement grew stronger. She recalled Frank sampling my Cabernet at a tasting, claiming it was his blend. Another vintner, Mr. Ben Carter, had seen Frank measuring my rows, muttering about owning this land. Ben's recorded statement was clear. Frank's been eyeing Emma's vines for years. Alan helped us create a presentation, weaving deed, emails, and testimonies into a damning narrative. It slides a fortress of truth. Mia, sensing our resolve, brought a quiet strength. One evening, she handed me a clay butterfly she'd painted. "For the mean man to see," she said, her eyes fierce. I hugged her, tucking the butterfly into my bag for luck. We learned Frank's motives. He was in debt, his real estate deals collapsing, his lavish lifestyle unsustainable. The wine tastings prize and my vineyard's value were his escape, but he'd chosen to steal rather than ask. I felt a flicker of sorrow, remembering his stories at Dad's table, but his betrayal was a choice, and it threatened Mia's future. The tasting's final day, where the prize would be awarded, was our stage. I emailed Miss Bennett, requesting to clarify my booth. Copying Frank, he called, laughing, "Emma, give up. I'm the Sullivan now." His arrogance fueled me. "See you Sunday," I replied, my voice calm but steel. The final day of the Napa Valley Wine Tasting Festival was a lively celebration, the town square packed with tasters, vintners, and critics. Glasses clinked under live jazz, the air rich with oak and berry notes. Frank's pavilion dazzled, his copied Cabernet drawing crowds, its barrel decor a blatant echo of mine. My corner booth, shaded by an old oak, was quieter, my bottles of Sullivan Reserve gleaming softly. My resolve was unshakable. Leo stood by me, his steady gaze a comfort, while Mia gripped my hand, her clay butterfly in my bag a charm against the nerves twisting inside me. Alan and Ellen mingled in the crowd, ready to support me, while Ben and Lily nodded from nearby booths, their presence steady. Miss Bennett opened the award ceremony on the main stage, string lights glowing above her, her voice warm, praising Napa's vintners. Frank, in a sharp suit, stood ready to claim the distribution deal, his confidence almost tangible. But I stepped forward, heart pounding. "I have evidence to share," I said, connecting my laptop to the projector. The screen showed my grandfather's deed, notarized, naming me owner. "Frank stole my vineyard," I declared, my voice firm despite the crowd's gasps. I presented purchase emails, Frank's Napa Elite pitch mimicking my brand, and Ellen's recording. He planned to pass it off. Ben added, "Frank sketched Emma's vines last spring." The crowd stirred, some booing Frank, vintners like Mrs. Carter glaring. Frank's defense, a mix-up, faltered amid murmurs. I showed his copied sketches, found in his booth's trash, and Walsh's receipt for my barrels. Alan handed over notarized documents, stating, "Emma's claim is legitimate." Miss Bennett's frown deepened, her gaze fixed on Frank, who slumped, his charm fading. "She awarded me the prize," her handshake firm. "We honor authenticity," she said. Frank left the stage, head down, his triumph undone. Leo hugged me tightly, Mia cheering as she danced around us. Alan and Ellen joined, their smiles proud, while Ben and Lily raised their glasses in a quiet toast. The jazz band struck a lively chord, the square alive with chatter, but my victory was more than a prize. It was proof my vines, my legacy, were rooted in truth. Mrs. Carter approached, her usual reserve softened. "You did right, Emma," she said, offering a rare nod. I thanked her, my voice steady now. Mia held up her clay butterfly, its colors bright in the dusk. "You're the best, Mommy," she said, her grin wide. I knelt, pulling her close, my heart full. The vineyard, our home, was safe, its story written in sweat and truth, not theft. Frank's reputation collapsed in Willow Creek's tight-knit community, where trust is sacred. The wine club banned him, Ayers dropped him, and his real estate license was revoked. His debts piled up, and rumors reached us that he'd moved to Fresno, managing a strip mall, his dreams of Napa buried under his deceit. I didn't gloat. His fall wasn't my joy. My joy was Sullivan's vines, its rose thriving, my Cabernet regional star, the $25,000 prize funding a new cellar and a scholarship for Mia's school. We were built in Willow Creek's embrace. Leo and I hosted a community tasting, inviting families to sip wine and pick grapes, Mia leading kids in butterfly hunts, her pride healing the scars of Frank's betrayal. Ellen organized a vintners co-op, naming me its lead, my role mentoring growers a nod to my dream. Ben and Lily joined my winery tour, their trust a foundation for growth. I expanded my blends, adding a Chardonnay inspired by Mia's love of sunshine, each bottle a step toward our legacy. The betrayal left a wound. Frank had been family, his campfire tales a memory of childhood summers. Losing that stung, a reminder to guard what mattered. Leo, sensing my quiet moments, pulled me aside one night under Willow Creek's starry sky, Mia asleep inside. "You're our vine, Emma," he said, his hand in mine. "You saved our winery." I kissed him, grateful for his warmth, for Mia's light, for the grapes that were ours again. A year later, Frank sent a letter, postmarked from Fresno, his handwriting shaky. "I'm sorry, Emma," he wrote. "I was desperate and broke our family. Your wine's beautiful." I read it in my cellar, Leo beside me, Mia's latest butterfly on my desk. I didn't reply. Not yet. The pain was tender, but I saved it, a reminder that family can falter, but roots grow stronger than lies. One evening, as harvest moon rose over Willow Creek, I stood by my vines, their leaves rustling. Leo wrapped his arms around me, Mia skipping ahead, chasing fireflies. "Your wine's magic, Mommy," she said, her voice bright. I smiled, my heart full. The tasting that nearly broke us became our triumph, proof that my vineyard, our legacy, was grown in truth, not theft.